Thank you and good afternoon. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam's Sports Report. We'll start with the Ravens and Steelers. Today's date is Tuesday, January 6th. Ravens-Steelers on the road Sunday night. It ended in a bang, and it ended with a bang to start. Touchdown, Baltimore. 8 plays, 38-yard touchdown pass to D. Walker. A touchdown was caught on a 4th and 3 from the Pittsburgh 38. And what a big play it was. Devontae Tez Walker caught the touchdown pass. It was a punt and a punt. A turnover on downs, which led to a field goal. Field goal quickly back responded by Steelers. A punt and a punt led us to halftime at 10-3. A touchdown, and actually Pittsburgh had the ball at first and goal at the 1. They decided to go for it, but were denied. And that was the way the end of the half ended. That was a huge stop. But Pittsburgh responded with a touchdown to make it 10-10. And now they may have had all the momentum. Reversed back on their side. Well, they definitely had some of it. After a 10-10 score. Interception by the Steelers and caught by T.J. Watt. Tipped up by Cam Hayward. Caught on a little breadbasket. Catch the breadbasket. And picked it off. And then got tackled. That score was then 13-10. A punt and a punt. Here came the offense. A touchdown by the Baltimore Ravens. A 50-yard pass from Lamar Jackson to Zay Flowers was really good. Touchdown. 17-13. But then Pittsburgh would come right back down the field. And they would score a touchdown. And then a touchdown by the Ravens. A touchdown by the Ravens on a 64-yard pass to Zay Flowers. So even longer. They were looking like they were connected on those. But Pittsburgh still had a chance, and they took the lead, 26-24. A 26-yard touchdown pass to Calvin Austin. And then Baltimore set up and drove right down the field and set up with a field goal to possibly win it with 55 seconds left to go in the game. Here is that field goal.
Snap good. Hold it. The kick is no good. It is wide right. And the Steelers are the champions of the North.
We'll go to Lions and Bears. The Bears don't want to break it down for you every drive like we did the Steelers and the Ravens. That game wasn't as good or wasn't as exciting for many of my Bears fans. At halftime, it was 13-0, and it could have been worse. It would quickly make it 16-0 after a field goal by Lions in the third quarter. The Lions, after 3, nobody scored in the third quarter after that. But the cardiac Bears brought him back. And it would be 16-8 after a Jahaid Walker touchdown. A touchdown by Carson Love. And it was 16-16. And as the Bears played it on the edge all year, there was another field goal by Lions, 19-16. And the bottom line is you lose to a team you shouldn't have lost to. But the Eagles helped them out by deciding not to play their starters. Eagles knew they would pretty much not decide a number 2 seed unless the Eagles were able to come up with an upset. And the Bears came up with that upset, but the Eagles might have been smart to play their starters. The Eagles decided to play it where they normally do. In history, they have not started the starters in So that was a decision they made. The Eagles did lead 18-10 going into the fourth quarter, but Josh Johnson was doing a good job as he ran. John Baker scored a 2-yard touchdown, and then Josh Johnson came down and was doing a good job at the quarterback position, especially for a guy that's not known as a starter and not a great player anyways. For that matter, not very good player in the NFL. He scored a touchdown and ran it in. The Eagles turned it down and lose 24-17. Now the question will be, should the Eagles have Nick Sirianni, head coach, have played the starters? I guess everybody will lean on yes. But you got to think about the whole thing and consider his point, and then lean toward which side you want to do. The Bears have the number 2 seeded in the NFC because of the loss from the Eagles. Thank you, Eagles fans. Thank you, Eagles. Bears fans must say. Maybe they didn't win that. No. Another NFC game was the Rams and the Cardinals. But he decided to play the starters of the Rams. The Rams game did not matter, though. But the Rams quarterback did throw 4 touchdowns. And the Rams needed... This was to gain more confidence. The Rams are 5 seed. And that might help them. After a loss to the Falcons, this may help them gain more confidence by playing the way they did. 37-20 final Rams over Cardinals. Bills destroyed their game against the Jets. It didn't really matter for seeding. They did not play their starters, although they did destroy them. Final score was 35-8. Chiefs lose after Daniel Carson nailed a 56-yard field goal. The Chiefs lost to the two worst teams in football in the last 3. The Titans and Raiders, one of the 2 worst teams in football. Raiders get the number 1 pick. The Chiefs get no quarterback production from their quarterbacks, from Chris Owendoko and Shane Buechele. As a matter of fact, they needed to throw the ball way before they did, and they need to learn how to throw it away. Those quarterbacks did not do that, and because of that, there's no way this team can have them on their team. And in fact, the Chiefs cut Shane Buechele yesterday. I mean, the games weren't great. The Broncos destroyed the Chargers, not playing their starters 19-3. The Broncos get the number 1 seed. The Packers and Vikings, this game didn't matter very much. We're going to skip over it. The starters didn't really play. 16-3, Vikings over Packers. Browns and Bengals, 2 bad teams, as the Browns win 2018. The Cowboys lose to the Giants 34-17. Not good in Dallas. The Jags beat the Titans 41-7. I think the Jags have a good chance to win the Super Bowl. We'll see who I pick, though. Stay tuned to my pick. The Jags beat the Titans 41-7. I think the Jags are a very good team. Stay tuned to my picks. Take their starters out in all likelihood, and they weren't very good. Jaguars were. They played their starters 41-7. Trevor Lawrence looks good again. Texans did come out on top with a good finish with their starters not in. The Texans hit a field goal to help them win with the Colts with a hook and ladder. It was no good. The throw was too many miracles. It did not work. The Colts did not score. But the Texans also bounced one up on that play and scored a touchdown on that play. That won at 38-30. We'll probably set up the playoffs either tomorrow or Thursday. As the biggest news after the Pittsburgh game on Tuesday, John Harbaugh was fired. And the rest of the coaches that were fired, the biggest one surprise was probably John Harbaugh after being there for about 20 years, maybe a little more than that. He is out in, I think it was 18 years. He is out in. John Harbaugh is out. Brian Callahan, Titans is out. Brian Dable, Giants is out. Raheem Norris, Atlanta Falcons is out. Kevin Stefanski, Cleveland Browns is out. Pete Carroll, Las Vegas Raiders is out. John Harbaugh, once again, Baltimore Ravens at 7. And we'll have more on this later today on TikTok. Join me there for Who Should the Giants Hire on St. Vaughn Sports. College basketball will start with Missouri. We'll break it down. Mizzou Tigers for sure played their best game against the Florida Gators to keep them alive in the NCAA tournament. They returned a bunch of players, and that helped the Tigers. They returned 2 players, and one of their 2 players hit a 3 that was very important for the game, and that was hit by Trent Burns, his first 3 of his career, and the only points of the night, but that gave the Missouri the lead. And that was the biggest shot of the game for Missouri. And Jaden Stone missed 2 free throws. Also did Mark Mitchell, but that winded up making the game questionable, even more questionable, but the Tigers would hold on 76-74. The number 17 Jayhawks did not look good, losing to UCF and dropping their first game and dropping them from 17 to 22. The Jayhawks win 73-65. Kansas State loses to BYU 83-73. This time Kansas got the win, coming back trailed by 9 with a minute 14 to go, and came all the way back. A big help was a foul on a 3-pointer by Darren Peterson that made all 3 free throws. The young sophomore. The KU fans expect him to go number 1 in the overall draft, but hasn't played a lot of the games because he's injured. And then they go to OT, and Kansas wins 104-100. Kansas shows why it's so hard to keep a lead at Kansas. Allen Fielding shows off why it's the number 1 advantage in basketball to me. 104-100. And Missouri will play Kentucky tonight. That will be a tough one. It's favored by about 12.5 and 90% chance of winning. That's a struggle for the Tigers tonight, most likely. And Kansas State will have even a tougher one, as they'll go on the road to face the number 1 team in the country, Arizona. That game tips tonight at 9. That's Sam on Sports. And Kentucky and Missouri, they tip at 7 on ESPN2 and 6 p.m. Central. And the Cats, like we just said, tip at 9 and tip at 8 Central. This is Sam Vaughn from Sam Sports Report.